Today, we're building a create mod castle featuring a working drawbridge and portcullis. We'll begin by making the moat and work our way up from there. I'm Uberswe, and this is build 19 of my 30-day create mod build challenge, where I do 30 different builds, with each build taking no more than one real life day, and each build has to fit inside this 25 by 25 plot. I also make sure that my builds are survival friendly and work with the base create mod. There's no need to go looking for add-ons. These builds should work for older versions of Create as well as the current 6.0 version, and most likely they'll keep working in future versions too. I begin by digging out a moat all around the sides of my castle. I already have an idea of how I want the castle to look, and will try to fit one tower in each corner. The sides of the moat will have mossy cobblestone for now, and I'll also use some mossy cobblestone to decorate the bottom of the moat. Then it was time to fill the moat with water. You could do this with water buckets, but you would probably tire quickly, so instead you can use a hose pulley that pulls from an infinite water source. This can be used to fill your moat while you take a break and watch some cat videos. Or I mean, my mini create mod videos on YouTube, of course. Then, for the walls of the castle, these will mainly be made of stone bricks. I'm building them one block in so that I can give the outer wall some nice decoration using stone brick stairs and walls. And then, to finish off, I will outline an inner courtyard area for the inside of my castle. I'm just randomly using stone bricks and mossy stone bricks here, but later I'll go back and switch some of these to make it look a little bit better. Finally, we'll use some more stone bricks to build up our gate area, where we'll put our drawbridge and the portcullis. And now that we have our gate here, we can go ahead and make our drawbridge and our portcullis functional. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a mechanical bearing right here. And we can go ahead and clear this out a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. Behind this mechanical bearing, we're going to put a gearbox, and then we're going to go back 2 blocks here and put a shaft right there and right there. And then we're going to have a sequence gear shift right here. And this is what's going to like control our drawbridge and make it go up and down. And then we're going to have another sequence gear shift here, which is going to control our portcullis and make it go up and down. So to make that work, we're going to put a, let's see. Yeah, we're going to put a gearbox right here, and then we can go ahead and rotate that like so. And then we're just going to build a shaft straight up. And then around here, I think this is high enough. I want to put another gearbox, and we'll rotate it. And then we're going to have one shaft, and then we're going to have our rope pulley sitting just like that. This rope pulley is going to come down, connect to this portcullis, and bring it up and down whenever our gate opens. Now, to give our sequence gear shift some power, I have cleared out a little bit of an area here, and right here we're going to place a water wheel just like so. And we can put some water down right here to give it some rotation. And then we're going to go ahead and put a gearbox on top of it just like so. Make sure to rotate it so that it is actually spinning. And then we're going to go ahead and put a large cogwheel right here. And then if we go down here, we can put a small cogwheel right here. And then another large cogwheel just like so. And then we can go ahead and put a casing right here with a small cogwheel right there just like so. And this was actually a trick shown to me by my editor, Batsy, that you can put a casing on a cogwheel like this, and it's going to prevent the rotation from going in between the 2 cogwheels here because they're separated by the casing, as you see. Now, from here, we can now put a gearbox right there, and then we can go ahead and put a shaft 1, 2, like so. And then we're going to use an encased chain drive like this. And now you can see that we brought power to both of our sequence gear shifts. Then before we start moving anything, we can go ahead and glue our portcullis. So I'm just going from one edge to the other edge like this, gluing it all as one large piece. And then over here for our drawbridge, we're going to glue one edge and then go all the way over like that. And that's going to be our drawbridge. Now, sequence gear shifts activate when you give them a redstone signal, so I'm just going to use a button and place that on top of the sequence gear shift by shift and right clicking, and we can place one on the other one as well. For this one, this is going to be controlling our gate that's going to go up and down. So I want this one to actually turn 80 degrees, and then it's going to be a time delay of, I don't know, maybe like 6 seconds. And then we want it to turn by angle 80 degrees again, but the opposite way. However, before we give this a redstone signal, we want to come over here and we want to make sure that this is set to, let's see, only plays when anchor is destroyed. So this means that once this picks up these trapdoors, it's not going to place until we break the actual bearing. So they're just going to be like stuck. Actually, we want this to be set to only place near initial angle. So then whenever it comes back to this position, it's always going to place. However, when it's up, it's not placing. So if we go back here, we can now test this. And as you see, our drawbridge is now going the wrong direction, which is okay. We're testing things. What we can then do is we can go in here. We can set this to go to the opposite way, just different directions. And now we can see that our drawbridge actually looks a lot better. So it's going up to 80 degrees and then coming back down to flat again. You might want this to stay up all the time. You know, there's no point in having a drawbridge that's always down. So we'll go ahead and we'll just set this one. Actually, we'll remove this last one. So we'll just set that to end right now and just bring this up. And then we wait for the red here to go away. And that means that it's finished. But now you can see that it's actually staying up like this. So we're stuck in that mode right there. And now what we can do is we can switch the direction on this one and then switch this one back. We'll set it to 80. And now if we press this, it's going to go down. And then after 6 seconds, it should go back up. There you go. And now it's being held like that until you give it another redstone signal. Then it goes down, it places, and then it should go back up again. Now it's time to make our portcullis functional here. So we can go down and look at this other sequence gear shift here. And now we want to set this one to turn to move piston, pulley, or gantry. And we want it to move 4 meters. And then we want a time delay of, I don't know, we can try 6 seconds again. And then we want the same thing, but in the opposite direction. We can actually make this go twice the speed just because we want it to be a little bit faster. You'll see that it's actually moving up, getting put into position right here, and then it should go down after 6 seconds again. Yeah, there we go. Now, you see that it's like connecting like this. So if you want to get rid of that, then what we can do is we can get rid of this and we'll just move it up. And then for this one, we probably should set this to place only when anchor destroyed, because it's always going to be like near blocks otherwise. We can go ahead and click that again. Oh yeah, I forgot. We can go in here and we can do a turn to move piston 4 meters in the opposite direction. And then after 6 seconds, it should now move down. And there we go. And you can see it's all the way down. It is actually blocking me, even though it's like not placed. And you can see that it's not connecting to any of the blocks because this is still an entity. It's still a contraption. And we can click it again. And you'll see that it goes up and then it will go down after 6 seconds. We want these to open at the same time. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to remove our buttons here. And we're just going to place some redstone across like this. And then we're going to have a redstone link here. I'm going to set this to spruce fence, spruce fence. We want a unique signal here so that we don't conflict with our other builds. And this redstone signal needs to be sent to receiver mode by right-clicking it just like so. On the opposite side, on the wall here, we can go ahead and place a button. And now when we click this button, it should open both at the same time, just like that. And then they should also close. Not at the same time. So we have to adjust the timings a little bit. But here from the outside, we can put another redstone link and we'll set it to fence. And then we'll put a pressure plate right here. And that's going to give a redstone signal to that link and open up our doorway or our gate or whatever you want to call it. Now, to fix the timing a little bit, I think what we can do is we can set this to 4 seconds instead so that the actual portcullis is open a little bit less than the gate or than the drawbridge. So let's see if it's more in sync now. Yeah, that's better. We could probably time it even better if we set that to a 3-second delay perhaps. So we'll just do this because it takes a few seconds for it to go up and a few seconds for it to go down. So I think that's probably pretty good. I kind of like that. We could, time it even better, but yeah, that's the basics of how to get this functional gate with a portcullis and a working drawbridge. Now, I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of decorating and kind of finish up the build, and then we're going to do a full tour of the entire castle once it's done. I'll be right back. And here we are, the final castle. Now, I went ahead and redid some of the decorating here to try to make it look like a lot of these like mossy stone brick was like towards the bottom of the castle to really emphasize that it was like really wet on the outside, like where the moat was. And then, yeah, I did a little bit of decorating. It's a very tiny castle because it has to fit inside this 25 by 25 area. And it also has a moat, so that makes it even smaller. But I think I did a pretty good job of building a castle. I think this is also my first castle that I ever built, so a really fun challenge. Now let's go explore the inside. Just as I showed before, we'll have the drawbridge working like this. I did make this drawbridge like not place when it goes down. I kind of like that a little bit more, but otherwise everything works the same. I also managed to leave this area up here empty so that if you start this at the top here, the fence won't actually touch any walls because I left enough room out here to actually allow for it to not touch walls. And yeah, I also decorated with a lot of casing like this. So you have some casing on shafts and then some casing just being casing. I think it's kind of a nice touch to have a little bit of wood and a site here and there. Now, from this inner courtyard, there's two doors. You have this back door here, which leads to a little boat, which you can actually take out of the castle. So there is a back door into my castle right here. Then on the inside, yeah, you basically just have an open corridor. Back here is like a debugging area. If you need to take a look at the, at any of these like sequence gear shifts here, you can do that back here. You can also test it by clicking the button here. Anything you might need, just come back here and do it. And then here on each tower, I added stairs so you can go all the way up in the towers here. And there's also a door back here. So you can kind of get out on the ramparts like this, or you can go all the way up in the tower. I also use copycat blocks here to make these really like thin walls here. And then if we go all the way up, you can see I decorated with some spruce trapdoors and things like that. And you have this entire wall where you can look down upon your enemies who try to enter your castle. And then we can head down on this side. So a set of stairs, pretty much the same as the other side, a little bit different, but that's just based on how I built it. Oh yeah, and if we go down here, we can get to the other door, which we saw in the courtyard. You can see we get up on the ramparts again here, and then we can go in here, and you have this like little room. Maybe you could, do something in here. I don't know. Here we have a wood room with some windows where you got some sweetberry bushes outside. And over here, this is like the other side where we were before. And then there's a ladder to get up into the higher up rooms here. So here you have a nice wooden room where you could have, I don't know, maybe this is where the main bedroom is, where the king sleeps. I really didn't have like a huge plan for this, but yeah, I think it turned out really well, really nice. And then of course this ladder goes all the way down in case you need to make a quick escape. You can just come down here and take your boat and go out the back door. That's all for this build. I hope you enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed building. Please do let me know what you think of my first castle in the comments down below. I would love to hear your feedback. I want to give a huge shout out to all my amazing Patreon supporters who help me pursue projects I never thought were possible before. To everyone still watching, thank you. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and consider subscribing if you'd like to see more of my content. I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.